Hello and welcome to this episode of The Capitalist Investor. As always, you have me, Diamond Hands D. We got the whole crew here. Cool Hand Luke, Tony the Tiger. What's going on, guys?
Same stuff, man.
I'm trying to live the dream. It's not working out.
That's big energy, guys. I appreciate that. Just to start the
show. I am here to
bring in the energy. Love it. Well, if you can't bring the energy to the planning corner, you're probably dead.
Do we need to restart the show?
No, we're going through.
If you're watching, on YouTube, I am smiling.
One take every time.
I have a client, and he listens. You know who you are. I can't say your name, but every time he emails me, he's like, "Luke, I hope you're smiling." That's his front line every time, and how it makes me crack up. I'm like, "Yeah, I can't promise I am today, but I try."
Well, this is, frankly, one of the, I think, the most important things to talk about, because obviously, we've been doing this for a while, and you talk to all different kinds of people who have all different types of opinions and thoughts on how everything works. What I'm always surprised about is some people, definitely not everybody, but there always seems to be almost a little bit of a reluctance to get a second opinion on your situation. And, I think just the idea of a second opinion for anything in life is usually a good idea. And when you're talking about, your finances, your retirement plan, your investments, when you go out there on the internet and you start searching for things, you're going to get a filtered explanation on whatever you're looking for. So, just having someone else look over your situation, look over your investments with their eyes to, kind of give a different take on what's going on with your finances and with your investments. So, with that,
why don't you print that? All right. So so I've had people come in for, second opinions and things like that. And what should be happening is obviously somebody's like, oh, I want a second opinion. I'm not sure if my advisor's doing well. Right. And I would venture to say most advisors start salivating like, oh, this is my opportunity to bring on a new client.
Right.
But I know I've always sat down with somebody who's in that situation, and I tell them up front, because of the person I am and the fiduciary responsibility, is like, hey, I'm going to point out the good and the bad. And if the good outweighs the bad, I'm still going to point out the bad, if there is any. I don't know, and that's where, doing your due diligence, making sure. But at the end of the day, it is a good way to see and make sure everything's coordinated and optimized. It's kind of why we do a plan refresh. It's always just checking and double checking and triple checking, like our work. Mm-hmm. When I sit down and I do a refresh of a financial plan, it's like, okay, what did we do last year and what can we be doing this year that might have changed? It's always, like, what is your advisor doing for you and how are they doing it, right? And that's why we always do our plan refresh. It's a big process, and it's an important process that we've implemented. But at the end of the day, it's like, even if you're a DIY person, it's like I always use the analogy, if my faucet starts leaking in my kitchen, guess what, man? I'm turning off the water. I'm calling a plumber. Because if I grab a wrench, there's probably going to be a foot of water in my basement.
Yep.
It's just so. What do you really want to do if you retire and you want to say, like, you know what, I'm going to hang up my CPA hat or my attorney hat or my plumber hat or whatever your occupation is, and saying, I'm a financial advisor today, right? Like, you got 0 days of experience, and that is where sometimes the irreversible financial mistakes come into play. So even if you do a lot of stuff on your own, it's still okay to get a double check to see what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how can you optimize it.
Well, people that are coming on that aren't clients yet, I always encourage them if they, they're even somewhat hesitant. I'm like, go get a second opinion. Go shop around. Like, go figure out, like, who is going to be the fighter in your corner that you want to fight for you every single day. Go shop around to find somebody you 100% trust and value, because this is your hard-earned nest egg. Yeah. You got to find somebody that you trust and
that you like.
That you share similar values in a lot of ways.
Yeah, you have to like them too.
Yep.
Yeah.
For
Enjoy
sure.
their time, because they're in charge of an important part of your life.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what I usually have conversations about. Like, hopefully you only make this decision once, right? So hopefully you make a good decision the first time around. And it's kind of to that point, there is a natural, and I've talked about this before. There's kind of a natural, when you talk about retirement planning and investments, there's just a natural kind of lean towards talking about investments and investment returns. What we've been talking about for months now in the planning corner is, yes, investments are important. The right types of investments and the right tax locations, all that stuff is extremely important. But the overall financial plan is what's going to tie it together for you and give you that confidence to live the life and the retirement that you want.
Right. And think about when you think about even prior to retirement, at any point when you're looking at your financial planning focus, it should be investments, taxes, healthcare, income, estate planning, Social Security. When do I turn that on? How do I optimize that? Like, you start thinking about all of those pillars. Investments. Well, we have CFAs, or what? Good luck competing with those guys. I understand a lot about like those guys are a different breed, different level of sophistication. Taxes. Are you CPA? Do you want to be a CFA, a CPA, a CFP, certified financial planner, or a JD? Because there's estate planning too. Mm-hmm. Got to get those documents done. Like, what hat do you want to wear? All 4 of those hats? Are you going to be an expert on each one of those categories?
I'm going to go back to this. I don't know if this is the perfect analogy or metaphor, but I go back to what everyone always said in sports growing up. It's like, hard work beats organic talent any day of the week, like just natural talent. If you're a hard worker, you'll always win over that person that has natural talent that isn't a hard worker, right? And one thing I always go back to with that is, I know we're in here day in, day out. Like, most of us are not working 40-hour weeks. It's 50, 60-plus hour weeks that we're all working here. We're not on the golf course Monday through Friday. There might be one time during the summer you might get out there, but we're not not the typical advisor, just not working 5 days a week in the office, 50, 60 hours a week. So the thing I go back to there is a lot of people think that you should be outperforming every single day. You should be, it's all of the investments, kind of like Derek was saying. And the fact of the matter is, over a long time period, even if you underperform one year, the hard work is always going to win in the end, over a longer duration time period. You of course, you're not going to win every single battle, but you're going to win the war. And that's kind of what I go back to when it comes to that same philosophy when it comes to managing money or financial advisor. I think we're pretty talented. I think we have a talented team, but of course, there's very, very intelligent people around the world, and there's always going to be some people that do better than others during the year. But I think that philosophy is really important when you're finding that guy again in the boxing corner to fight for you every day.
Yep, I think that's probably one of the if I could give people one piece of advice, if they're out there looking for an advisor, just do not just base it on past performance, because that's where people usually want to start. And frankly, it's easily manipulated. If you want to, you can make 100 different portfolios, and then when someone asks for past performance, you just give them the best one that performed the best after for that time period. So and like we've talked about many times before, it's not all about rate of return, especially in retirement. It's about controlling risk and controlling volatility over a long period of time, and that's really going to make a difference over outperformance over a short period of time.
Or even tax strategies.
Oh yeah,
they don't. A tax strategy does not show up at the bottom of your Schwab or Fidelity statement. It shows up at the bottom of your checking account, because if you don't implement the right tax strategy, guess what? The IRS does not call you or send you a letter saying, hey, you messed this up. Why don't you go file an amendment, redo this, and we'll send you some money because you messed it up. No, it doesn't happen, right? You need to be, forward thinking on that and be able to identify the opportunities. So,
for sure. And I'll wrap it up here with this. Excuse me. We have a note written down here, blind spot. Like that's what an advisor should be doing for you, is monitoring those blind spots. Thinking about stuff that might not be on your radar, but it's on their radar. To make sure you're protected from whether it be the downturn in the market, or whether it be taxes, whether it be income planning, whatever that is, making sure all of your bases are covered. So always important to get that second opinion. If you're looking for a second opinion, obviously shoot us an email, info@swpconnect.com. Or if you're looking for topics for you'd like us to talk about, or even guest spots, we had a guest spot the other week. So if you're interested in that, let us know. And thanks for listening to this episode, and we'll talk to you next week.